All right, Dave, what do you think happens this week? Does the dominance over the New York Giants continue?
I think so. I just think they're a better team. Like I said, it is a little scary how badly the Giants lost on Monday night. I don't think you want them to lose that badly. But I just don't think they're a good team. They look lost offensively.
I see you got something on here. Darius Slay, who has been unbelievable, especially in the last couple of weeks, on his way to a historic season for the Eagles and a sure Pro Bowl, right?
Yeah, I mean, you would think Pro Bowl at least.
Yeah,
he has
maybe All-Pro.
Maybe All-Pro.
Yeah.
The Eagles haven't had an All-Pro corner in nearly 2 decades. So,
right.
I mean, it's been a long time since we've seen a corner play at this level here. I mean, the last Pro Bowler they had was Asante in 2010. So we're talking. It's been a long time since they've had a corner play like this.
Has it been
that
long?
Like the touchdowns are great, but aside from that, he's playing really well. Like last year, he played well, and he had the 2 bad games, and everyone knows the 2 bad games. There were DK Metcalf and Devontae Adams, and yeah, he was bad in them, but in everything else last year was pretty good, and we're seeing the consistency this year. He's been doing everything. It's been really fun to watch him play at a really high level. I mean, aside from the touchdowns the last few weeks, he's been locked down. I mean, no one's getting anything on him. Now this week they're going to play a couple good receivers, but I mean that offense is so broken. Who knows if the ball will even get to them? But yeah, he's been really fun to watch.
Yeah, and opposite of him, you have Maddox and you have Nelson, and both of those guys have played well when you put them in position to be aggressive, But, far be it for me to, talk about defensive back because I played offensive line. But I do know if you get up tight on receivers, you take away that first read of the quarterback, then you'll do pretty good against a guy like Daniel Jones. So do you think Gannon still keeps up with that like he did last week? Because he didn't respect that. He didn't respect the quarterback, so he played tighter on the receivers. Does he have that same disrespect for Jones?
He should. And it's not just Jones, it's that offense. It's broken. And it's funny, you look at some of their players and you're like, all right, like the line's not very good. But I mean, they have Saquon back. They have Evan Ingram, who's a decent tight end. He can't stay healthy, but he's a decent tight end. They have some weapons out there. Daniel Jones at times has looked serviceable, but that offense is just broken. I mean, if you guys watched that game last night, it was brutal to watch. It was almost too bad. If you're the Eagles, it's like you want them to be bad. You don't want them to be that bad because that's almost like a wake up bad game. That's almost a game where you look at it and say, well, we need to change a lot. And if you're the Eagles, I think you almost want them to be bad, but not like that. That was bad to the point where the Giants are probably looking at things today like, we might need to make some bigger changes here. Yeah. I don't know if that means
Jason Garrett,
but I'd think about it after what I saw last night. I really would.
Yeah. There was a play. We're going to put it up here later in the show because I found it on Twitter where 3 wide receivers all basically ran into one another in the middle of the field. And Daniel Jones, it's, all 22 like film. You see these 3 guys coming to the middle of the field and they're surrounded by 2 or 3 Tampa players, but they're all in like a cluster in the middle of the field. And it's like, no wonder Daniel Jones doesn't have any place to go. It's like, who's designing these routes?
That was a third down play.
Yes, it was.
It was, I've seen that play. It's been circulating quite a bit. The Bucks showed some pressure and they backed off. First off, they beat him with a 3-man rush. Sue had a 1-on-1 for some reason and beats it, and he's in Jones' face. And then the Bucks were in zone, and I've never seen anything quite like the Giants just corralled themselves in the zone.
Mm-hmm.
They just ended up in the middle of the zone. It was really strange. It looked like they were trying to run some crossers. It was bad. It was.
And
really
they picked
bad.
one another instead of picking the defenders. But and they were getting all that pressure without Vita Vea last night. Were the Buccaneers?
That's load.
Load is right. Yeah.
And once he gets going one way, you can't stop him going that way. But I mean, you look at it, and when I'm looking at these games, I looked at the Kansas City game. They weren't just blown out. They were in the game. I look at even the Tampa Bay game. they played well enough that they were in the game. I mean, I say what you want to say, but that's a world champion. So I just think now that they have the identity that they have, and the mere fact that they're going to run because they want to run and not because they're influenced by statistics telling them that they should run, I think they have a fighting chance of getting a lot better this year. And, it might make them want to sit around and not go waste a pick on a first-round quarterback and, ride the wave with Hurts, which puts them in a great position now to use those 3 picks more wisely than in a quarterback or going out in the free agent market and getting a quarterback for free agency.
Yeah, he's been really good the last few weeks, and I've been impressed. People always think that I'm like an anti-Jalen Hurts guy, and I never have been. I wanted to see it play out, and I thought there were some issues with him earlier this year that concerned me. I thought there were issues with his accuracy. I didn't think he threw with great anticipation, but I also realized that the offense wasn't really helping him out. I mean, when you're asking him to do everything, he can't do that. Maybe he'll never be able to do that, but he certainly can't do it now, and he's basically still a rookie. So seeing them scale that back and become a run-first team, I've been impressed. I think it probably took a little too long, but you give them credit for what they've done, and I give them a ton of credit in that Saints game because you're facing the number 1 run defense in the league. And early in the game, they did bottle him up a little bit. I was worried that Nick would say, forget this. Let's air it out. We can't run on these guys. And he didn't.
Yes.
Right.
He stuck with it. He said, no, this is what we do. This is who we are. And I thought he made a great point after the game. And it's a point that I don't think we talk about enough. They looked at the Saints and they said, yeah, sure, they've done really well against other teams trying to run the ball, but those other teams don't have Jalen Hurts. And the way he affects the run game, not just when he runs it, but the threat of him, the threat of his legs, it's different. There aren't many guys in this league like Jalen Hurts stylistically. I mean, and I don't want to compare him to Lamar, but stylistically, that's probably the closest you have. You have Lamar, you have Kyler at times, and then who else really runs the ball like that? Not many. So It's like, sure, the Saints have stopped the run, but they hadn't seen a quarterback like Jalen, and he opens up so much for the running backs. And the way this, Barrett, you have to love the way this line is blocking.
Mm-hmm. I'm just as giddy. I'm just giddy. I mean, if you watch The Rise, that's what I broke down on The Rise. On our
Christmas
channel.
Came early for you,
right?
Man. It's,
and I keep saying it. I keep telling people, look, anytime you have 6'8", 380 pounds, and then 6'6", 360 pounds on one side, there's no way that you could stop the ball from going that way. I mean, how can you stop it? You can't.
And it's everyone too. It's like everyone is talking about, Mailata and Lane and Kelsey because they're making the highlight reel plays. Jack Driscoll's playing really well.
Very
at right guard.
Yep.
I mean, he's a good run blocker, and Dickerson's playing well. That unit right now is it's fun to watch. And Mailata's just a bad man.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness, he's playing with some edge.
What if he stays pissed off like he was? Like, I'm sitting back and I'm talking to people like, and I hate to do it because I don't want to, bring Carson up, but I have to. But you see how he was fighting for Carson and was pissed off because he pushed Carson late out of bounds. And then Mailata from that point took it upon himself with a personal vendetta to whoop 92's ass every single play he could. He tried to fight him every single play. What if he keeps that same attitude and it becomes infectious through the rest of that offensive line? Then they're really some bad boys. Oh man,
And what's funny about him, and I can't wait to talk to Jordan this week. We need to talk.
But they never did it for Carson. They never did that for Carson.
Well,
what are they doing now?
They did. Some of them did. I mean, Jason Peters fight anyone who touches any quarterback.
Right.
But it's funny with Mailata because, and I can't wait to talk to him about this week. All these other offensive linemen have played offensive line for a long time, and it's like it's ingrained in you to protect the quarterback. Don't let anyone hit him. He had to learn that, and I kind of wonder if being around Jason Peters for a few years helped him with that, because JP wouldn't take anything from anyone. I mean, you touch the quarterback, you're about to hear it. And that impressed me so much, Barrett. He's the left tackle. That play happened on the right sideline, 15 yards downfield.
Right.
He's the first one in his face. I was impressed by that. And then watching him, there were a few plays in this game that really got you fired up with Mailata. There was the one hand. He got Cam Jordan off balance, but to throw Cam Jordan with one hand, I mean,
that's some strength.
We're talking like an all-pro type player. I mean, that's serious strength. And then I liked seeing him mix it up with Davenport. He finished the block, pancaked him, and then got up over him, and Davenport didn't like it. I get it. It's tough,
Yep. All right, Dave. Jeff Stoutland's done an amazing job with this whole offensive line, but Mailata in particular. But we all see it. We all like what they're doing, the way they're going about their offense. What does the owner think? What does the front office think about this run-heavy, run-first mentality?
Well, look, at a certain point, teams are going to just overstack the box, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Joe Judge do it this week. I mean, they're just going to say, we're not going to let you run. We're going to leave you. We'll put 9 in the box and we're going to stop you. And then that's when we want to see the next step. That's where we want to see what Nick Sirianni does, what Jalen Hurts does, because if they're going to do that, guess what? You have some chances to
get
take
some one-on-ones. Yeah,
plenty of one-on-ones.
Yep.
You're going to have some shot plays in there, but you're really going to have the intermediate game, which is where early in the season I thought we needed to see the improvement from Hurts, intermediate routes, and also in the middle of the field. And at times we've seen him improve that. So, run like this, let it set up your pass, and at a certain point you're going to have to pass the ball. I don't think I don't want to say it's not sustainable, because I guess it is, but I think you're going to have to pass probably a little bit more long, like down the road, to be a successful team. But let your run set that up, and that's kind of what we're seeing. And I like their approach. I mean, they were so out of whack early in the season with how much they were passing the ball, and they tore it down, and they said, let's run the ball. Let's run the ball. We can run block. Let's do it. And then it feels like the last couple of weeks they're starting to build that pass game up again, given that they've run the ball well. And I think that's a good approach.
Well, you're absolutely right, man. Just getting into Nick Sirianni, and we're past the phase of the flowers and, growing roots and all that stuff. We're past that place and the stage. And, we know
3-1 since then.
Right. Yeah. So, but we know the team loves him, but he's got to chill with the patronizing of J.J. Arthur-Whiteside, him getting a gang ball for catching one ball. What is that all about, man? One ball.
You give him credit for catching it. He hasn't had opportunities. They need more from their other receivers. J.J.'s not playing a lot. They need more from Quez. They need more from Jalen Reagor. I mean, Rager's been a negative the last few weeks. He's literally going backwards. I don't know what the answer is. Early in the season, it seemed like they were really trying to get him involved early. And it's tough because they come into a game, their first priorities in the pass game are 6 and 88. Get them the ball. And when you're only throwing the ball, 24 times, there's not a ton of other opportunity, but they just need a little bit. I mean, you're a first
rounder, man. You're a first rounder, so there's no excuses.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, for me, like that first rounder, like that ship has sailed. He might never be worth that, but you got to get something out of him. You do. You just got to get something out of him, because right now there's really not much there.
Well, you have to maximize your opportunities, and he's not doing that. As a player, you have to put yourself in a position where if they're not giving you an opportunity, you have to make your own opportunities. And I don't see that drive in him to do that. You look at Quez Watkins, he's trying to maximize opportunities, even though he didn't catch that long pass that should have been a touchdown going to half.
Right between
he's
his
still
hands,
getting open and making himself a target. I don't see at this point Reagor making himself a viable option in the offense. You have to make yourself an option. Quez is making himself an option. Smith is making himself an option. You have to put yourself in a position to be open before they can get the ball, because he's not going to throw you open. That's one thing we know is not a part right now in Jalen Hurts' game. He's not going to throw you open. But if you are open, he will get the ball to you, and I don't see him getting open at times, and that's where the problem lies, his ability to get open.
Yeah, and it's a little troubling, at least the way the coaching staff seems to view him. Like, everything that comes his way is behind the line of scrimmage. And I get it. Like, he has traits that you say, get it in his hands and let him create, but it's not working. It's actually hurting your offense. So I throw it in the trash heap.
Yep.
Yeah, the jet sweeps and the wide receiver screens and there's been a lot of negative yardage there. It's really amazing to see. And his return game really isn't that good either.
He was okay in the punt game. He took out one kick that he probably shouldn't have.
Right.
It was like at the 3. He probably should have let that go. He's been okay in the punt game. I'd probably switch up kick return, give it to Quez or Boston Scott. Yeah.
Right.
I
I think Boston might take it, man. He's trying to get all the reps. He's become a scavenger, and he's making he's taking full opportunity every time he gets the ball or every time he gets in a position to make a play. He's trying to make a play every single time. So you got to love that, man. That's that healthy competition they preached at the beginning of the season.
All right, Dave, what do you think happens this week? Does the dominance over the New York Giants continue?
I think so. I just think they're a better team. Like I said, it is a little scary how badly the Giants lost on Monday night. I don't think you want them to lose that badly. But I just don't think they're a good team. They look lost offensively. And it's funny, like, you look at their roster, and they have some decent players.
They have
that just tells you it's just a lost cause. Defensively, I mean, they have some talent there. I mean, they have decent corners. They have some good guys on the line. We have Leonard and kid from Clemson. His name is escaping me. DeMarcus Lawrence. Or not DeMarcus Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence. You have some good players there, but they're a mess right now. So yeah, I think the Eagles should win this one.
They should win it. So I see. I'm still picking up everything for my my prediction, man. I'll try to have it for you. I got to fly out on Friday, so I'm gonna have it to you before I fly out on Friday. All right,
okay,
guaranteed.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
All right.
You're gonna do it while you're watching football on Thursday.
Look, they all see it. They all see it too. They all say I made the promise. So
I feel your pain, Dave. We all feel your pain.
Don't make me call you on Thanksgiving, Barrett.
Right.
Thanks for jumping on, Dave.
Yeah, take care, guys.
Thanks a lot. There he is, Dave Zangaro. Follow him on Twitter too, at DZangaro NBCS. All right, we're going to take a short time out. When we come back, we're going to have that video of that play from last night where the wide receivers for the Giants ran into one another. Yeah, it was kind of it was kind of indicative of the entire game, really, for the Giants on the offense. We'll have that and a whole lot more as we continue here on The Middle with Barrett Brooks and Harry Mayes. Smash that like button on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel.